minutes of our last meeting, and this was held last January 20 and chaired, very ably chaired by one of our members, Kong Ria. So, approval of the minutes. Is there any motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Kong Tas again.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to dispense the reading of the minutes of the January 20 meeting and to approve the same. I so move, Madam Chair.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded as well that the reading of the minutes of the January 20 meeting be approved. Okay, so I would like to acknowledge our members who are on board. We have, as I mentioned also earlier, we have Congresswoman Josie Lim Kai Chong, Congresswoman Rep Paz Radasa, Congresswoman Ria Vergara, Congresswoman Ruth Hernandez, Congresswoman Glona Labad-Labad, Congresswoman Sara Elago, and Congresswoman Irene Saulug. Comsec, sino pa ba sa ating mga colleagues? And then for our for the acknowledgement of our resource persons and guests, Comsec Joy, can you kindly acknowledge their presence? Thank you.
Good morning. We have resource persons that are present today are the following. Ms. Elizabeth Ansioco, the National Chair of Democratic Socialist Women of the Philippines. Dr. Socorro Reyes of the Center for Legislative Development. Ms. Maria Rebecca Rafaela R. Bailosis, Supervising God Specialist for the Philippine Commission on Women. Attorney Gloria Camora from the Commission on Audit. Attorney Esmeralda Amora Ladra from the COMELEC. Attorney Gloria Ramos Petalio from the COMELEC. Attorney Shimaida Cadiz from the COMELEC. And Dr. Jean Encinas Franco from the UP Department of Political Science. Did I miss anything? Maybe I miss the other guests who are on board now. Wala na po. That's all po, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Comsec. And for our opening statement, okay, good morning again to everyone, to our gender equality champions who generously gave their inputs and comments on our House Bill 7179, entitled An Act Promoting Women Participation and Equitable Representation in and by Political Parties, giving incentives, therefore, creating the Women in Political Parties Empowerment Fund. This is the third meeting, no? particularly on this bill. And as I said, no, thank you to all those our resource persons who really gave their inputs and really helped a lot in drafting our current version of the draft substitute bill. My sincerest thanks and appreciation for all your efforts towards the bill's enrichment. For several meetings now, we discussed the importance of women's political participation, and no debates about this. The barriers and challenges they or shall I say continue to face, and why quotas and the creation of a women's empowerment fund are just the start. We have studied all the position papers submitted and the inputs shared during the discussions in the previous meetings. What we consider as important and useful, we had to decide how and where to integrate them. And in the end, we have to face the question of how will this bill go through the committees on appropriations, rules, and of course the plenary. Our discussion on the bill will take a step further after our approval. We must work on the details of the IRR, the implementing rules and regulations, the how-tos of the gender quota, the allocation, the allocations, the source and use of the Women's Empowerment Fund, and making sure that eventually, through the gender and development programs we incorporated, this bill will lead to gender reform within political parties. As the principal author of this bill, it is my honor and privilege, both personally and professionally, to shepherd this bill that encourages and provides mechanism for women to step forward and take their rightful place in governance and decision making. The UN Commission on the Status of Women will hold its 65th session on March 15 to 26, with its priority theme, women's full and effective participation and decision making in public life. And it is our agenda, that when we join the UN Commission on the Status of Women in its 65th session next month, we can rightfully claim that we are taking concrete steps in empowering women towards political participation and leadership. Maraming salamat. And thanks again, everyone, for all your contributions and efforts towards enriching this bill, HB 7179. And before we proceed, maybe some of our colleagues have remarks or anything to say as well.
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, Kong Arlene.
Arlene.
Welcome.
Yes.
Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I have a few words to say, Madam
Yes.
Chair, with regard to House Bill number 7179. Madam Chair, my dear colleagues, good morning. Just in time for the annual 1 billion Rising 2021, we rise for gender equality. We raise women's potential in effective leadership in our country, and we unite for pro-women legislation, such as the one we are discussing today. This representation would like to register support for House Bill 7179 and its ultimate goal of enhanced political participation and increased representation of women in the political arena in our government. In this day and age, creating a Women's Empowerment Fund for aspiring women candidates, especially those belonging to marginalized sectors, kasi gusto po sana natin may focus talaga sa marginalized sectors, is definitely essential for Filipino women to participate in decision-making processes involving the recognition of their rights and hopefully the betterment of the lives of women and girls. This representation from Gabriela Women's Party would also like to forward the Philippine Commission on Women's recommendation for the adoption of gender quota provisions, such as the candidate quota for political parties wherein neither women or men comprise less than 40% nor more than 60% of the number of candidates, and the creation of a Women and Gender Development GAD agenda for all political parties, among others. This is in order to ensure women's full representation in leadership and in response to our commitments to international conventions, including the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW, and the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, the ICCPR. In line with this, we would just like, pahabol lang, Madam Chair, we would just like to see clarification on the process of determining the amount to be included in the GAA regarding this funding. And if this representation may propose to include safeguards, such as maybe a fixed amount or a ceiling on the amount that can be accessed by political parties qualified for the fund. Lastly, Madam Chair, for the past 20 years, Gabriela Women's Party has been forwarding pro-women, pro-LGBTQIA, pro-children, and pro-people bills since its establishment. Nonetheless, we recognize that the formation of the Women Participation and Representation in Political Parties Act is a one step towards equal opportunities for Filipinos, regardless of gender. Maraming salamat, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Kong Arlene. Very well noted. And thank you for the full support for this bill. Any other members who would like to say something? As I said earlier, we always have to weigh our inputs and recommendation vis-a-vis how this bill will go through the Committee on Appropriations, and Kong Arlene mentioned specific amounts and allocation. No? So I think this will also be taken up in the Committee on Appropriations.
So, Madam Chair, we are giving we are giving the hand to the Committee on Appropriations for this.
I believe so, but did you have any specific recommendation, Kong Arlene, in terms of the specific allocation and amounts? Nung empowerment fund? Kong Arlene? And Kong Arlene, we've lost you, no? Kurang nawala si Kong Arlene. Anyway, as I also mentioned, we will work on the details in the IRR, no? Development of the IRR in terms of the how-tos of with regard to the gender quotas, the allocation, yung source and use of the Women's Empowerment Fund, no, and making sure that eventually through the gender and development programs we incorporated, no, this bill will lead to gender reform within political parties. So, any other comments from our members? Nawala si Kong Arlene, no? So, I think yung mga detalye sa IRR na. Kong Ria, I think there was from our staff that maybe Kong Ria would like to nasa chat ba? Kong Ria Vergara. And I would like first...
Good morning.
Okay.
Madam Chair, it's my honor. May I move for the approval of the draft substitute bill, House Bill number 7179?
Okay, there is a motion to approve the draft substitute bill. I believe everyone has copies of the draft substitute bill. And the motion of Kong Ria Vergara is to move for the approval of this draft substitute bill. Any second?
Second the motion, Madam Chair.
One second.
Okay, Kong Pasradasa also has seconded the motion of
Can you say
Kong Ria Vergara. And so now our draft substitute bill is duly seconded and approved.
Okay, taas na yung result before.
And let us now proceed to COMSEC. Should we proceed now to the approval, if the draft substitute bill has been approved, I believe we should now proceed as well to the approval of the committee report. COMSEC?
Ang substitute naman. Dapat-
Should we suspend for a few seconds? Thank you. Okay, COMSEC. COMSEC Joy, do we have a draft committee report that we can share on the screen? COMSEC Joy.
I'm back na po. We have a draft committee report. Please kindly share it on the screen. Yeah.
I believe it seems Kong Arlene hindi nakabalik na si Kong Arlene.
Yes, Madam Chair. Sorry, Madam Chair, technical difficulties.
Kong Arlene, I believe Congresswoman Josie Lim Kai Chong, who's a member of the APRO, a Committee on Appropriations. I think, Kong Josie, am I right? You will try your best to ensure the allocation during the deliberations of the Committee on Appropriations.
So, Madam Chair, do we have a particular amount suggested in the committee, or it's just blank?
I think there were suggestions in the previous meeting for particular amounts and allocation. But as I said earlier, we can do the details IRR. No?
Madam Chair, may I say something? Madam Chair.
Okay, Dr. Socorro Reyes?
Yes. Yes, I know that, it is so fast. I know that this draft bill has been approved. I still want to say something about it. It is a women's empowerment fund without any specific fund. And then we're only talking about how it's going to be. Well, that's Arlene, no? Arlene, Congresswoman Brosas, was saying that, in terms of allocation, this, that. Yeah, but what are you allocating? There is no fund. So I just find it a little bit absurd that you have a bill, which is called the Women's Empowerment Fund, without any mention of any specific fund. And, the notion that anyway, we will just work it out in the Committee on Appropriations. I find it a little bit absurd. And even if this has been approved, and I really thought, oh my gosh, what process is this? Without even discussing thoroughly. And also, I want to, because I went over the bill again, because you were asked for comment. So I looked at it, I reviewed it, and then I thought that, the objective of the bill is so that we'll be able to increase women's political participation, and we're sort of dangling before the political parties some money, that they can access if they put in women candidates. So if that is the case, then we should be very clear about what that amount is. You're also saying in one particular, I won't go to the bill anymore because anyway, we are just approving this so fast that we are saying that the political parties will be given funds from the Women's Empowerment Fund depending on the amount they raise for gender development, That will not incentivize political parties because why would they raise money for gender and development when actually they can get money elsewhere? They have so many, many sources. So what I was even thinking is that asking or mandating political parties to set aside 40% of whatever they raise for gender and development. Anyway, that's exactly also the money that you will be giving them from the Women's Empowerment Fund. Hindi ba? 40% for campaign expenditures, tapos sabi natin 60% for gender and development fund. This bill will just be another empty exercise if we just keep it the way it is. But since you have approved it, and I was really kind of surprised at it, whoo, That's what I want to say. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Doc Sok. I believe we had a guest in the previous meeting, although it was Kong Ria who chaired that meeting last January 20. We had a guest from the Department of Finance, and I believe Doc Sok was also around during that meeting. I would just like to share again the comments of our guest from the Department of Finance in the last meeting. What was his name? Comsec. Anyway, our DOF resource person thinks that it would be really very difficult to in terms of the getting funds, and yung comment niya is that once passed, it would give undue advantage to a particular sector. And ang sabi niya, the Magna Carta of women is enough. So anyway, well noted, Doc Sok and Kong Arlene. Any other comments since we have already approved the substitute bill?
Madam Chair, may I say a few words lang po? Fully understand that you have approved the bill.
Yes. Ma'am Beth of SWP. Thank you for all your inputs in the previous meeting.
Yes, you're welcome, Madam Chair, as always. But like Doc Sok, I'm also a bit surprised that this has been approved. But since it has been approved, I just want to say that, for instance, there might be some provisions because the IRR cannot go beyond what is provided for by law. Am I correct, Madam Chair? And therefore, I'm a bit worried about a few provisions that are quite clear. One, for instance, is in terms of disqualification of parties. The way it is written, it is like, it's a forever disqualification. So my earlier proposal, which we submitted to the committee, is that let's try to qualify such disqualification, because if political parties are going to be disqualified forever, then it's going to be counterproductive to the goal of the bill that it should have a gender and development agenda, and it shall also be supported for supporting women candidates. So if that can be considered, and secondly, Madam Chair, I'm still worried about one, the funds, the funds, kasi yes, I do understand our desire for the bill to go through the committee. Pero kasi pag walang funds, this is just adding to the voices of those of the other advocates. Pagka walang funds, wala rin pong masyadong magagawa. This was our experience in the political party that I used to be a member before. There was a quota, but aside from the quota, there was no support, no other support. So it was very difficult for us. And then, Madam Chair, yung appropriations lang ng mga women candidates, I like it very much that we have adopted a gender quota because that would actually be beneficial to everyone. Except that we fully understand the difference between the national elections and the local elections. The way the bill is written, kapag hindi natin nilagyan po ng provision na meron ding quota sana for national positions that will be put up by the political parties, baka ang concentration ng ating mga women candidates ay lahat nasa local. So, yun lang, Madam Chair. I fully understand the desire of the committee to approve this. And I'm just really hoping that this is going to be one bill that will truly benefit the women, and that women at last would have a substantial say in political parties and also in politics in general. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you as always, Beth. Very, very well noted and taken. Any comments from our members? Wala nang ibang comments. The draft, especially on the draft committee report that was just flashed on the screen. Okay. So yung sa section 6 on can we flash section 6, candidates of a political party for a given election year? We can propose the amount here. Section 6. Nandyan pa naka-flash ang committee report. It says yung sa section 6, candidates of a political party for a given election year. So in this, in terms of the amount, so we, dito natin pwedeng maipasok yung ensuring in the national, na may gender quota no, sa national and local candidates. Was there a raised hand from one of our members, Kong Ria? Any Kong Ria Vergara.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, if there are no comments, can I move for the approval of this draft committee report?
Okay, any second?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that the draft committee report of our House Bill 7179 be approved. Are there any objections to this motion? Hearing none, motion is approved. And I would like to acknowledge those who have just come on board: Congressman Yul Servo, and Congresswoman Dalia Loyola. Our committee has been approved. Committee report is approved, and we move to other matters. Okay, other matters na tayo, Comsec.
Ma'am.
Okay. As for the other matters, as has been the tradition, the Committee on Women and Gender Equality will again head the 20 months. With the theme "Women, we make change work for women." No? It's Women's Month, and our committee will again spearhead the celebration, especially in this in the House of Representatives. And in line with this, we have already lined up various activities as follows. One, the hosting of the virtual flag raising ceremony at the House of Representatives on March 1. And there will be a cash raffle draw on said event. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our members for your donations, which will surely make the House employees happy, especially in this time of pandemic. And second, we will be conducting a hybrid all-women session day in the House of Representatives to allow women legislators to assume leadership roles for a day in the plenary. Minority is respectively a speaker, deputy speaker, majority leader, minority leader, and so on. Women legislators will also deliver privileged speeches in the plenary or via Zoom to articulate on compelling women's issues and concerns. This is in cooperation with the Association of Women Legislators Foundation, Incorporated, and this will as well be on March 1. And then third, we will have a virtual launching of the How to be a Gender Responsive Legislator Handbook. This is a joint activity of the Committee on Women and Gender Equality and the House of Representatives GAD Focal Point System, and in partnership with the Philippine Commission on Women. And then fourth, we will have a online policy discussion, the Usapang Human Development, and it's an online policy discussion series. And this time around, it will be on Women's Special Month in partnership with the Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development. This Facebook Live event is expected to engage national legislators, government agencies, CSO leaders, and key affected populations, as well as public viewers and supporters regarding policy reforms for women's rights. This will be on March 9. And then fifth, we will be conducting a forum on women's leadership and political participation in collaboration with Angat Bayi. The schedule to be announced. And sixth, we will have a Women with Disabilities Day celebration. This will be on March 29. And we will likewise be having a virtual roundtable discussion on how to be a gender responsive legislator in partnership with the International Development Law Organization, the UN Women, and the Philippine Commission on Women. And the specific date schedule is to be announced. And we will be sending a schedule of the above-mentioned special activities through your respective email addresses for your information and guidance. So, maraming salamat, and thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, just a question.
Kong Arlene.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Yes. Madam Chair, question lang, Madam Chair. Bakit hindi March 8? Bakit March 1 tayo nag-celebrate?
Yung March,
Why
sa
March
all
1, Madam Chair? Kasi, historically, yes, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, oh, yes, Madam Chair. Kasi March 8, supposedly, historical po yung date ng March 8 eh. That is why we are celebrating it talaga, no? Internationally on that day. Kasi yun yung kino-commemorate. But, bakit, Madam Chair, curious lang ako, bakit March 1 ang binigay na date ng HOR, ng Congress?
Okay.
When in fact, ang March 8 ay Monday, no?
Yes, we have the convocation, the flag raising ceremony, like what we did last year as well.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
For the kit, is COMSEC around?
Yes, ma'am.
Bakit
the flag ceremony is always held during the first Monday of the month of March. That's why po, Kong Arlene. And the all-women session is also held every first Monday of March. We have an activity that is yet to be announced on March 8. That is the launching of the HGRL handbook. So we scheduled it really on said date because of the significance of the International Women's Day.
Madam Chair, I am asking kasi actually, that's the proper time talaga. March 8 should be for women, di ba? Tapos, Monday naman siya, wala namang pasok, no, na ibang schedule for anything. Bakit hindi March 8? Bakit hindi ginawang March 1?
Oo nga.
Oh, that's the decision of the majority.
I think we can still move.
Kasi Madam Chair, if we ask, for example, the Speaker, the significance of March 8 is important to women. Baka pwede siyang, if we can ask, wala namang problema. If we can ask.
Yeah, we can always that to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indulge us in this day because this is Women's Day. Tapos international, around actually lahat naman simultaneous magkakaroon ng mga celebrations on March 8. So yung significance ng March 8 sana ma-uphold natin. If there's really nothing wrong in asking na March 8 ang ibigay sa atin and not March 1. Yun lang, Madam Chair. I will not belabor the point ng pero yun lang yung gusto ko sana natin. Thank you.
We will also check with our God focal point system, si DepSec Natura.
Maraming salamat, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Kong Arlene.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
We will also ask the Association of Women Legislators Foundation. It was also the date suggested by DS Arenas. Kasi as has been the tradition, it is usually in the first Monday of March po. Kaya yung tama nga, Kong Arlene was correct din na it could have been March 8 sana. Pero as a matter of practice or has been the tradition, it is always usually the first Monday of March po in the House of Representatives.
So let's also propose that to Deputy Speaker Arenas.
Yes, salamat. Salamat, Comsec. Salamat, Chair.
Thank you, Kong Arlene. And any other comments before we move to our favorite motion? Any comments from our members? Congresswoman Paz Radaza.
Congratulations, Madam Chair, for our approval.
And any other motion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Or okay, Kong Paz?
To adjourn, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So we are now adjourned, and maraming salamat to all our dear members and our dear resource persons and experts and guests. Thank you, and have a good day. Happy Wednesday, everyone. God bless. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you.
Bye, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Malu.
Thank you. Hi, Kong
Thank
Glo. Thank you. Thanks, Kong Ria, Kong Glo, Kong Irene.
Welcome, Madam Chair.
Kong Paz, Kong Dalia, Kong Ruth, Kong Yul. Hi, Kong.
Ay adlaw, mga pinalangga kong katawan din sa probinsya sa Bukid. Umahan inyong gobernador, Nonoy Diyos Ubiri, kinasingkasing na maghangyo kaninyo na magsunod sa mga mando sa Department of Health aron kita malikay sa COVID-19.